household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller. And on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, we are now rolling out what I call the Candidates Corner. So we're speaking to different candidates each Tuesday and Thursday morning, 7:30 to 8 a.m. And I'm very happy to welcome, this is my first candidate interview. And I'm welcoming Mr. Philip Ebanks, who's an independent candidate for Red Bay. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, Kathy. Thanks for having me. And good morning to all the people in Red Bay. My friends and family, and I guess, all of those who are going to be looking in and listening to this broadcast this morning. It's a real pleasure to be here and to have the opportunity to speak briefly about my candidacy. The decision to become a candidate hasn't been one that I've taken very easy. I've spent quite a lot of time thinking about it and talking to friends and professionals and well-wishers and of course, everywhere that you go, there's been a lot of people who've just simply said to me, Philip, this is the most difficult journey you'll ever be on.
Yeah.
And I think that is so. I've been in the periphery of politics for the last 45 years of my working life. I spent the first 22 years in the public service. Many people know me in the police department where I served. I completed that journey as a superintendent of police. A lot of people in Red Bay, as I go through, they're police officers and ex-civil servants and civil servants, and they remember me back from that time. Over the last 20 years, I've been a lawyer, and I've fought, the private sector fight. So I think I have a fair range of experience in order to be able to really do a very good job, have a very deep understanding of the issues that face us. And it's against that background that I've decided to take up this mantle at this time, to go forward to do the very best job that we need to have done at this time for the benefit of the people of Cayman and the people of Red Bay. And that's what I'm offering. That's why I'm offering my services. I believe the services are going to be well needed. Everywhere you go, the two things that strike you are that people are very disenchanted with a lot of things. They look back at the last government. They don't feel that there was the range of opportunities created for Caymanians in the workplace that should have been created because of the systems in place. And some say it's immigration law, some say it's immigration system. But the fact of the matter is that we need to find a way of bridging that gap so that Caymanians get the first and paramount opportunity to get into the workplace, to also thrive in the workplace in the sense of if they may be moving from one opportunity to another, we need to create that bridge, so to speak, to make sure that happens seamlessly. The greatest travesty that we see happening is that quite often nowadays, you see students going away on government scholarships. They come back after 4 years, and then they're sitting around waiting for an opportunity to get a job. It's the taxpayers' money. 4 years, and we're still not able to bridge what seems to be a fairly straightforward gap to ensure that Caymanian who is coming into the workplace doesn't sit around, get disenchanted, and decide, hey, my country doesn't really need or want me. Maybe I'm better off somewhere else. We need to make sure that those types of things are fit so that we have that gap filled and so that Caymanians can get an opportunity. Issues of housing, again, here we
big
go.
One.
And really it's not a big surprise as to what is happening. We have a real issue with the the number of units on the market within
Yes.
the right price range. And then there's issues with mortgages and interest rates. And because of that whole system, Caymanians are kind of priced out of the market on decent, affordable homes.
Correct.
That's something that we have some definitive ideas about how to fix and to ensure that we get the opportunity for every Caymanian to have a decent, affordable house.
What are some of your ideas that you have
Well,
that if
some
you
of
can
my
share?
ideas is, first of all, one of the things that really hampers the whole thing is things like interest rates. Okay, right now, interest rates are an all-time high. And one of the ideas that we have is to have a mortgage company, a locally government-run mortgage company, separate from the institutions that are there now, because its only thing will be to offer mortgages for Caymanian homes. That can be funded by a bond or other financing, and then based on that, then that organization can offer 40-year mortgages instead of the usual 25 or 30 years. And in that way, you find that the monthly payments then become more easily
manageable. One thing, if Cayman is tied to the U.S. dollar, the Cayman dollar is tied to the U.S. dollar, and our interest rates are a reflection of what's happening with the U.S. And so how would that change a scenario for Cayman so much? Because we know that when interest rates are cut there, they're cut here.
Right.
However, we did go down 1% in the third quarter of 2024 with interest rates, right? And it was projected to go another percent, 1.25%, I believe it was,
Yes.
by 2026.
Yes.
Now, the Federal Reserve has said, this isn't going to happen because of what is happening with the new administration in the U.S. Inflation is going to be sky high, probably worse than they've ever experienced. So we have a possibility of looking at interest rates rising once again. So in that scenario where we are tied to the U.S., how can we, I guess, separate ourselves in that sense to be able to offer that kind of mortgage managed government entity that you're suggesting?
Yes, certainly you make a very good point. The local banks are really dipping into institutional finances on a global level, whereas under the scheme that I'm looking at, what would happen is that government would be effectively the guarantor or the major borrower for extensive loan of 40 years or thereabouts.
Okay.
It would be secured by government, and in that way, government could then say against whatever the borrowing rate is that it would not be there as the private sector is to make some money on some money. It would be there simply to ensure that it maintained good mortgage rates and interests at a lower rate, perhaps at 5 or 6%. So it could honor its repayment obligations, but at the same time offer better rates for people who are within the scheme on longer term. So I think that there's a way of extracting that government, and probably government's the only person who can do that, is to extract and have a separate mortgage scheme that would be there as another viable option for those who are making borrowings on the major, probably the most significant purchase that they're ever going to make.
Correct.
Is a home.
Right.
And in that way, you do take and move a mortgage, which might be right now a $400,000 mortgage is around $2,600 a month, and you can move that same sort of mortgage down by maybe $1,200 or $1,300. So
that's a significant savings.
It's a significant savings, and then you have some money then that you can use on other things. Taking your family on a nice vacation if that's what you want to do. Right. And then beyond that, there's the issue of the stock of housing itself. I mean, if you look on the market today and you look for a $400,000 house, it's usually not a very good one. It probably needs a lot of work. In fact, if you look back,
you can't really find a house for that. You might find an apartment,
you
like
might
a
find
condo,
an apartment.
1 bedroom.
That's right.
Maybe 600 square feet or smaller.
That's right.
It's pretty insane.
That's right. So there we are. The stock is limited, and we know first rule of economics is that if you have a very limited amount of stock, then the price there's more pressure on the price going
Right.
up. So my idea on that is that as we look towards going east on the new roads that are going to be going in that direction, we try to encourage more public and private sector partnerships to build the housing in the kind of volume that we need, right? What we're doing now, and I appreciate that the last government did the best job it could at providing housing. There's some bright spots there, but we've got to produce houses at a greater rate than sort of a 25 homes in 4 years. It's just not going to help us. We need to produce them in kind of volumes, and it probably means a combination of different options, some apartments, some private residence, but do it, and I think you need to do it in conjunction with the private sector, because the private sector really knows how to get things done.
Correct.
Right.
Now, I'm cognizant of the time right now. Okay, so we have a
Yes.
couple minutes left.
Yes.
And I want to get into your priorities for Red Bay, because Red Bay is the constituency that you're
Yes.
running in. So when it comes to the priorities for Red Bay, can you please let us know what you're trying to focus on?
Yes, well, Red Bay is certainly dear to my heart. I've lived there for the last 30 years. In the current location, I've been there for 15 years. So the issues in Red Bay are well known to everybody who go out on that, drive around that neighborhood and see what's going on there. And when I asked one constituent, what do you think the biggest issue is in Red Bay? They said traffic, traffic, traffic. So that tells you a little bit about the mood of the constituency. But I also say that beyond that, clearly, there are issues of roadworks, drainage. We need to have a proper road and drainage program that we roll out. And again, that's not something that we're going to fix immediately, but we need to have a program that these things get rolled out over time, and we fix the worst spots first, and then we move forward. So there needs to be that sort of budgeting that needs to get done. Beyond that, issues of security in Red Bay are things. We have a lot of neighborhood watches, and people are very interested in their safety and security. One of the items that I want to tackle is to have a strategic placing of cameras in different locations on the main roads and so on. So it gives a more of a sense of security.
Yes.
And what I've learned, of course, from my 20 years of being in the police department is that the more you can you can harden things against criminality and bad conduct, the less likely is that your neighborhood will be targeted. So that's part of it. Back to the issue of traffic congestion. Obviously, it's a very complicated issue because we have very limited roads. We don't have a public transport system, which, by the way, when I was in the public sector, we started the Now Public Transport Board back then. Sadly, there's not been a lot of progress there. So now we're down the road 25 years later, and we don't have that yet in place. But that's something that I would like to really take a look at again and move forward to see how we can make that work better. And certainly a good place to start is by having clearly marked public buses that go on time.
Yes.
and so
It's a big deal, yes.
And a lot of people say, well, I'm not going to give up my car because of some bus. Well, first of all, it's a little bit about a mindset. And yes, we love our cars and we love to get inside, and some car parks right now, parking lots right now, there are probably 4 or 5 cars leaving the same yard. But as things become more congested, and as we see that we have a working public transport system, then it is more likely that people are just going to naturally gravitate towards a system like that. So
Right.
that's kind of the idea at this moment that I'm thinking of.
You have about 1 minute. I got to
Yes.
wrap you up. I'm so sorry. So
Yes.
you got 1 minute. I know you have a meeting coming up.
Yes,
So those are details we want to get out.
listen, if you want to hear more about my thoughts, we have a brochure that we have issued. I'd invite anyone who wants to write to us. They can WhatsApp me on 324-9886 or info@philforredbay.com, and we'd be happy to exchange ideas that we have on our brochure and talk to anyone about all our ideas.
Is that the number 4 or FOR? Phil
It's
4.
It's 4. Phil 4 FOR.
Okay.
Yes. And we are having first launching meeting on Saturday night at Mike Russ, which is for Red Bay. This is the traditional spot of having, and I'm expecting a lot of people, so many people, we've had it advertised and people come say, hey Philip, I'm going to be there. So we're going to have some good speakers. We want to do this thing in a more traditional form, so that you'll hear from me, you'll hear more details about my agenda, and you'll also have the opportunity at some point to ask me questions. I'd like to just walk down from saying whatever I have to say and meet the many people in Red Bay who I haven't had the chance to shake their hands with.
Okay.
But I'm here, and I'm looking forward to running a successful campaign and being the MP for Red Bay on the 30th of April, and then going forward to do what we need to do for this country, to select the government, look at things like housing and roads and immigration and work permits.
You have so many on your agenda, so many things on your agenda. So for people to check out the website, which is philforredbay.com, and it is FOR, so philforredbay.com. We got to wrap you up right now. I have another candidate interview right after this, so got to wrap you up. Quick commercial break, and then we'll be back on the buzz.
Thanks so much, Kath. It's a pleasure.
No problem. It was great to have you.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas.
Nesta Alexandria Ebanks, 1901 through 1997. Miss Nesta, or Aunt Nettie as her relatives and neighbors called her, was involved in the religious and social life of her community from an early age. She had many talents. She wrote debates and composed poems, one of which was set to music and is still sung in church. She held high office in various organizations. She visited the sick and shut in. When there were no satin-lined caskets available, she used the traditional methods of pinking the sheet, making beautiful coverings for the coffins, designed with just scissors. She taught classes of mathematics and English to neighbors and friends when there were few schools. Although she never married, she single-handedly raised one of her grandnieces whose mother died in childbirth. She was also a nurse and invented various medicines.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. And woo, we just flew through that interview right there with independent candidate for Red Bay, Mr. Philip Ebanks. He had a lot of great information to give. And now we've got maybe about 12 minutes while I have a new candidate in here with me. And I don't think anybody's really heard from this candidate as yet. Also an independent candidate for Georgetown West, which is my constituency. And that is Mr. Tyree Hernandez. Good morning, Tyree. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for joining us. I know it was a bit of a rush for you this morning, but I'm very happy you made it.
I'm happy to be here.
Now we have limited time, so I'm just going to say, you know, the mic is in your hands. And if you could just start with giving us a bit of a brief summary of who you are, your career so far, professional qualifications, and then go into your priorities for Georgetown West.
Sure. So I started out back in the late 90s, early 80s, late 90s, working with Cayman business firms. And I moved on from there after a few years. The owner of the company actually got me my first job, official job from him, by talking to a friend, which was the owner of, back in the day, known as Supplies Unlimited. They later changed their name to Office Pavilion.
Okay.
So I served there in a professional capacity as a sales representative representing Sharp Electronics. I worked with a number of businesses here on the island, Maples and Calder, government, cable and wireless, CUC, just to name a few. And so I did very well there, and I was there up until the year 2001, when they decided to close their doors. From there, I have been working with the island companies. I was a sales rep there for a number of years as well, up until I want to say around 2004, just before the hurricane that devastated the islands. Since then, I was off for a while doing a little freelancing. I'm a tiler, handyman.
Okay.
And I moved away from that when the government was looking for heavy equipment operators. So I went to work with the National Roads Authority, and I was there as the man that was responsible for helping to pave all of these beautiful roads that we have here. The government had formed their own professional paving team. And so I was one of the guys, one of the key members. I was there up until 2019 when I was medical boarded due to injuries caused on the job. Since then, I've just been kind of laid back, retired because of injuries. And it's pretty much what happened with me. Today, I decided to represent Georgetown West because, unfortunately, Mr. David White decided that he was not going to seek re-election. And it, in my mind, left our constituents without a leader. We need leadership in our constituents. Everybody needs leadership. And I thought that I might be that leader that the constituents of Georgetown West needs.
What do you think are the biggest issues that are pressing for Georgetown West? And how do you hope to address these issues? We don't have any issues that are different from any other issue that are in any of the other constituencies. We have problems with housing. We have problems with flooding. We have problems with the community. We have problems with the elderly. All of the issues in the Cayman Islands are all the same. We don't have anything directly documented to say, oh, well, you know, I'm going to fix this or I'm going to do this. No, I need to get out there and get my constituents to tell me what their concerns are. And I've been doing that. I have had a couple of concerns, couple of issues that has been addressed, not addressed, that has been talked about. What are those points that they're making to you?
Flooding. Flooding is a thing that can be resolved and it can't be resolved. And when I say can be resolved, it means that simply if you change the road elevation, for example, most people are concerned that the roads are flooding. If you change the road elevation, where does that leave the neighbors? Their yards.
Yes.
You know, because at the end of the day, what happens, water is going to find its exit.
Right.
You know, so off the roads where it has a nice drain or whatever on there, the road is going to be safe, but then neighbors' houses are going to be, you know, problems with flooding as well. So it's do and don't. At the end of the day, I do feel that there are solutions. We just need to get to the bottom of it, get with the proper people to find those solutions and work them.
What about crime? Because that's what I see as a growing concern for Georgetown West.
As far as crime is concerned, we need more policing. I myself have called the police station a few times looking for help in situations. I think we are understaffed at the police department. And for the police that we have, the people that are serving, I think that a lot of them are undertrained. to serve in that professional capacity. And that's just based on personal experience. But I think that if there is more policing, less crime. Where there's a presence of a police officer, if he stands for good morals and stuff, criminals looks at it in a different light.
Has there been anything in the past 4 years for Georgetown West that you have seen has made a positive impact in this constituency? Or do you see the areas of improvement, things that didn't happen that perhaps might have been promised?
I don't, being quite honest. I don't.
So you haven't seen much change?
No, I haven't. And I've lived there for almost all my life. I'm 54 years old, married with 6 kids. I'm on my second marriage. I raised 2 families in one house, and I have not seen that many changes. I don't remember seeing any, realistically. Directly, no.
Okay. Now, when it comes to issues of national issues, more than anything, what would you think are the most pressing issues for the Cayman Islands, the country as a whole, and not just for Georgetown West?
Everybody's touching on the subject of housing.
Right. We just did in the previous interview, yeah. Right.
So, there is every year a number of kids are graduating from the high schools. Some are not continuing, some are continuing on to further their education. Whichever one they choose to further or not, housing is still a necessity. We need to make the market more feasible for them as far as cost is concerned. Cost is through the roof. I was fortunate enough back in the day that my parents gave me a piece of the rock, so to speak, representing Cayman, on property that they still own. And so I've raised my families in that house. But I mean, apart from that, for me to be able to go out there and say that I can purchase a piece of land and build a house, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It didn't happen then, and it's not going to happen now. What's happening for my kids that are adults and have their own families? It's just not, we need to get to where we can provide for them. They are the future. Without them, Cayman is going nowhere.
Do you have any ideas towards housing that could make it more affordable or accessible?
I tell you what, some stuff that I've been thinking about over the past 20 years. Reducing prison cost. I've worked all of my life, and I've never been able to make a yearly salary of more than $36,000. It's ridiculous that a prisoner is costing us $93,000 now. How do we maintain $93,000 for a prisoner, and the working man can't even get half of that?
That's a great point.
I mean, if you stop and think about it, the prison is overrun. Last that I checked, there was like 250 something prisoners, with around 80 or 90 of those being expats. This might sound sad, but if you come to my house and you do something wrong, what am I going to do? I'm going to put you out.
Yes, I understand that, yeah.
And therefore, I think that if we can cut our cost, especially at the prison, by repatriating those prisoners, that would amount to quite a great savings yearly, which could be put into housing for our future.
Okay, now we only have about a minute. We got to wrap up. So if there's any other thing you want to leave our listeners with, especially how people can find out more about you as a candidate, independent candidate for Georgetown West.
Sure, they can reach out to me. My number is 917-7670. I am also on social media, and I am on the Instagram. It's Tyree Hernandez GTW, and I'm also on Facebook, Tyree Hernandez GTW.
And Tyree is Tyree?
Yes, it's spelled Tyree Hernandez.
Okay.
Another way of contacting me is by WhatsApp, 922-4446.
Okay. Wonderful. Tyree Hernandez, independent candidate for Georgetown West. Thank you for joining us this morning. I know it was we had to do a bit of a brief interview with you, but I appreciate it. I'm glad that you were able to get some of your priorities out to our listeners and give a brief introduction to who you are as well for Georgetown West.
Thank you so much for having me.
No problem.
Have a great day. Good morning, Georgetown West. I'd love to be your candidate.
And maybe they'll be hearing from you a lot more. We'll see. We'll see.
Sure.
We've got to go to the 8 a.m. news right now. And then after that, I will be speaking with the RCIPS. And then after the RCIPS, we're going to have another chat with the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development.
Thank you, Kathy. And studio time by Foster's is 8:01.
When you're on the go, the experienced team at Foster's Pharmacy are here to help. Drop off your prescription while you shop or WhatsApp us and we'll prepare it, ready for your arrival.
Whether you need prescription or over-the-counter medications, blood glucose testing, or advice on vitamins and supplements, we're here early in the morning to late at night. Both of our locations at our Camana Bay and airport stores are open 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., Monday to Saturday.
For more info, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy. Foster's Pharmacy. Better health because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
I'm April Cummings with your latest news. A man will learn his fate for indecent behavior. Radio Cayman's Ebanks reports.
Christopher Kelvin Ebanks, who pled guilty to a charge of committing an indecent act in public, was initially set to be sentenced on Wednesday, but will now learn his fate in May. The charges stem from an incident back on the 28th of November 2024 when Ebanks was observed on Newport Avenue in Georgetown exposing himself and engaging in a lewd act on the porch of a private residence. During the hearing, the chief magistrate delayed the matter to obtain a victim impact report, which typically takes 4 to 6 weeks. The court also heard that the Crown intends to apply for sexual harm prevention order. Both the victim impact statement and the Crown's application are expected to be ready for sentencing, which is now set for the 14th of May. Ebanks, Radio Cayman News.
While there are no known cases of the avian influenza on island, the Department of Agriculture says it recognizes community concerns regarding the potential role of feral chickens in disease transmission. While the birds here in Cayman are not known to be infected with HPAI, they do have frequent contact with migratory birds, which could increase the risk. The Department of Agriculture says it is working with relevant stakeholders to assess risks and explore appropriate control measures, including humane capture and culling strategies where necessary. The Cayman Islands Institute of Professional Accountants held its 2025 annual general meeting Tuesday at the Georgetown Yacht Club. 15 members were elected to serve on the CIPA Council for the 2025-2026 term, while Rose Nolan, President, Lori Murnett, Vice President, and James George, Secretary, were reappointed as officers. It is the end of an era after more than 4 decades serving the Cayman Islands. The directors of Cayman Islands Realty, trading as Caldwell Banker Cayman Islands Realty, have decided to close shop. The decision follows the passing of the company's founder, J.C. Calhoun, last September. The directors say despite diligent efforts to maintain continuity, the firm continued to face significant challenges, leading to the remaining shareholders to initiate the winding up of the business. A statement today says the decision to close was incredibly difficult, but that JC's legacy will live on through the lives he touched and the timeless legacy he instilled in the island. That is your local news at this hour. I'm April Cummings. Now to the BBC for stories making headlines around the world.
BBC News. A senior Kremlin aide has, in effect, dismissed U.S. proposals for a truce in Ukraine. He said they would only give a breathing space to Kyiv and repeated demands for a settlement on Moscow's terms. The Israeli Prime Minister has called false and absurd a UN report, accusing his country of sexual violence against Palestinians in Gaza and the West Bank. The report said the abuse appeared to have been carried out under orders. The Taiwanese president says the increasing number of soldiers spying for China should lead to the reopening of the military court system. Last year, the number of cases was 6 times higher than in 2022. The Polish president has urged the US to deploy nuclear warheads in his country. He said there should be more NATO infrastructure to deter Russia. The German parliament is debating constitutional changes and a massive fund to increase defence spending. The moves are backed by the parties likely to form the next government, but they don't have the votes needed to pass them. Southern African states are ending their military mission in eastern Congo, where M23 rebels are making advances. The mission that supported government forces had suffered heavy losses in recent months. Tanzania says the latest outbreak of Marburg virus is over. There haven't been any cases of the hemorrhagic fever for more than a month. The Pakistani Prime Minister is reviewing security in Balochistan. His visit comes after a train siege that led to the deaths of dozens of people. The attack was carried out by Baluch separatists. A brown bear has made what's been called a remarkable recovery after becoming the first of its species to undergo brain surgery. The animal is said to be happy and healthy after waking up from its semi-hibernation. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the past 10 years, Health City Cayman Islands has been providing a comprehensive range of in-house medical services, from routine care to highly complex surgeries. We've transformed healthcare in the region, saving thousands of lives in the process. Recognized for quality and excellence, Health City brings together expert doctors, the best technology, and the latest techniques to provide world-class healthcare to those who need it. Health City Cayman Islands, a decade of healing.
Georgetown, it's time to talk about real solutions. Join the Cayman Islands National Party for a public meeting this Friday, March the 14th at L. Thompson's Georgetown parking lot at 7 p.m. to hear our Georgetown team. Carmen Markfield for Georgetown Central, Gary Peanut Ruddy for Georgetown South, Russel Bud Johnson for Georgetown East, and yours truly, Craig T. Merrin for Georgetown West. Come hear our vision, share your concerns, and let's build a better future together for these islands.
We're ready for the road.
See you there.
The nation listens. The candidates speak. Subway presents the General Election Debates, live in studio on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and 93.9 in the Sister Islands. Every Monday and select Wednesdays from 7 to 10 p.m. 2 sessions. One powerful discussion. With Election Day fast approaching, hear what the candidates have to say on the cost of living, housing and development, economic growth, sustainability, education, transport, tourism, immigration, and more. Who has the vision? Who has the plan? Hear it all unfold live, unfiltered, and on the voice of the Cayman Islands. Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM and 93.9. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Visit Radio Cayman's social media pages for debate details. Brought to you in part by Cayman Enterprise City.
Also brought to you by Reflections, UCCI, and Yum.
It's back. It's crispy. It's delicious. St. Ignatius Youth Ministry presents Friday Fish Fry Nights. 6 weeks of flavor. March 14th, 21st, 28th, April 4th, and 11th. Serving from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the St. Ignatius School Canteen. Dine in or take out. The menu includes fried or baked snapper, $17. Mahi-mahi, $15. Served with fries or rice. Coleslaw, escovitch, fritters, and more. Drinks, just $1. Free desserts while they last. Eat good. Do good. Every bite supports our youth ministry trip to the Steubenville High School Youth Conference in Orlando, Florida this summer. Come hungry. Leave happy. See you there.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CICBD, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 79 degrees. Relative humidity is 91%. The barometric pressure, 29.98 inches and rising. The wind is east at 2 knots. Overnight low, 75 degrees. Synopsis indicate isolated showers are possible today as remnant moisture from a dissipated frontal boundary lingers across the northwestern Caribbean. Thereafter, mostly fair conditions will dominate the area with slight winds and seas. Radar images show isolated showers around the Cayman area, which are moving towards the northwest. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today, calling for mainly fair skies with partly cloudy spells and a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures will be in the mid-80s. Winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, mostly clear with less than a 20% chance of showers, and temperatures dipping to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet as well. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 6 minutes after 9, low tide this afternoon at 3:16, and a high tide again tonight at 9:28. The sun will set this evening at 6:33 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:35. And the outlook is calling for a gradual increase in winds over the weekend. An increase in the chance of showers from Saturday night into Sunday is also expected as moisture retrogresses across the Cayman area. That's the very latest on your weather report.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CICBD. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
The 8 a.m. weather update brought to you by CICBD, where people come first.
I work hard each day. I'm a mother, sister-in, daughter, wife, cook, and everything in between. I know that no matter what, I have to be the woman I need to be. And that's why I choose Curves for that time of the month. When the pressure is on, I know I can rely on Curves sanitary napkins to keep me dry and comfortable all day and night. Affordable and available in cotton or silk. With Curves, I can be the woman I need to be all the time.
Strong, resilient, beautiful. Be the woman. Curves.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning. This time we take a look at what's happening on the roads coming from the east on Shamrock Road further up. Moving on moderately, further down, different story. Steady traffic. Some sections a little busier. Steady traffic on the Linford Pearson Highway as well as Cool Road heading to Georgetown. Steady traffic coming off of Agnes Way and a moderate flow of traffic off of Bobby Thompson Way. Downtown Georgetown looking pretty good as traffic is flowing nicely on Edward Street into Georgetown on Shednor looking pretty good as well. Coming from the West Bay 4-way, start flowing nicely on the West Bay Road heading to Georgetown. Traffic is steady and heading towards the West Bay area in front of the Ritz especially. Traffic is moving on moderately. Coming off of Esther Tibbetts Highway, moderate flow of traffic and a moderate flow of traffic heading towards the Industrial Park area. On North Sound Road, traffic is steady but flowing in both directions. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue, moderate flow of traffic. If you've seen accidents or incidents, let us know by calling us at 949-6990. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 12:15. We'll give you another look at traffic.
Subway and Oreo has changed the dessert game. Introducing the Oreo footlong cookie, a full 12 inches of chocolatey, creamy goodness. It's big, it's bold, and it's here for a limited time. Perfect for sharing or not. We won't judge. Want it fast? Order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick pickup and earn loyalty points, or get it delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Don't wait. Treat yourself today. The Oreo footlong cookie is calling your name. Subway. Eat fresh. Snack sweet.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the people's station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Radio Cayman's Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
Brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call me today, Michael Webster, at 925-5433.
UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
Super Jam.
Also brought to you by Cayman Airways. Call them at 949-2311 to book your non-stop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
Superior Auto Center. Do it right the first time with Superior Auto.
949-9570
or 525-9571.
Superior Auto. They keep your car in tune.
And Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
An Ocean Deep Mobile Massage, your go-to for high-quality massage and spa services. WhatsApp 924-4159 or email oceandeepmassage21@gmail.com.
The #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That unlike the no-gets, ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand-bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. And I hope you were listening in that 7:30 to 8 a.m. segment because we had two very quick interviews with independent candidates. The first one was with Mr. Philip Ebanks, independent candidate for Red Bay. And after that was Mr. Tyree Hernandez, independent candidate for Georgetown West. If you didn't hear that, you can always go back to our YouTube because we do upload our videos to YouTube every day. So it'll be on, maybe around 10 a.m. You can catch those. And right now in studio, happy to say, we always have our monthly interview with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. And you usually are used to listening to me with Sergeant Jodi-Ann Powery, who is with me this morning again.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jodi-Ann. And she's also brought another guest, so happy to say that I'm also welcoming for the first time to The Buzz for me is Detective Sergeant Russel of the Criminal Investigations Department.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the heat is on.
There we go.
It's not often we have somebody from the Criminal Investigations Department join us on the show. So
excellent.
I'm welcoming calls. and
all right.
Russell said it's okay. It doesn't matter what I get the worst kind of things said to me every day, so it can't be that hard.
Yeah.
We're welcoming the calls or WhatsApp. You can WhatsApp call or text us at 925-3261. You can give us a call at 949-6990, 949-8037, or 1-800-534-8255. That's the Flow toll-free number that you can call. All right, so let's get into it. So I know that I don't know if I should just call you Russel or Detective Thies.
No, just call me Russ. That's
okay.
good.
Russ. Okay, we'll go with Russ.
Nice and simple.
Gotcha. I don't like to be called Catherine. I get it. It's Kathy.
Yeah. Kathy.
Yeah, I get it.
Perfect.
So, all right, Russ.
Yes.
Yeah. With a K. Did you get a K?
I did a K. Yeah.
Okay, thank
yeah.
you.
My auntie's name is actually Kathy. So.
Okay. Easy for
easy.
you. It'll be easy. There was some things that you were happy that you wanted to talk about, and I think it's like recent convictions that have happened, right?
Yes.
So you want to, I guess, get into that.
Absolutely. I know that we've had a little bit of a crime wave to start the year, especially in the past month and a half or so. But we've had some recent really good successes too. And a lot of times what happens with these complex investigations, it takes us a while to sometimes identify and get the evidence to be able to arrest and then charge somebody with these crimes. But probably about, I think it was 3 weeks ago now, we had 2 attempt murders up in West Bay where there were shootings. And we were able to, within hours, get people into custody, for one, but also have enough evidence within 3-4 days, within even 2 days, to be able to charge them. And they're all 3 people that were charged in both the 2 separate instances, which aren't linked in any way.
What kind of evidence was it that helped you lead to those arrests?
It's a variety. So sometimes they're complicated. It's corroborative evidence. Sometimes it's direct evidence, which would be, for instance, forensics evidence like DNA or fingerprints, or direct witnesses saying this is the person, I saw their face. Sometimes the corroborative evidence might be we see a vehicle moving around and we see the suspects get into the vehicle, and then later on we see the vehicle again, and we're able to put 2 and 2 together, either the movements before with the clothing they were wearing before, the clothing at the time of the shooting, or even the clothing after the shooting. So it's kind of a variety, and it's always ongoing because we're still waiting for forensics and stuff to catch up to the investigation, because unlike CSI on TV, I think we probably discussed this before, it doesn't happen like instantly. It's sometimes a process. We can speed it up, but we can't speed it up for every single case. So in certain cases where it's more of an exigent need, we will do that. We will request that gets sped up. So with those 2, it's we're waiting on some further forensics evidence to really solidify that. In one of the cases, there were some admissions made by one of the people, which led to their arrest, which led to some, like I said, corroborative evidence that we were able to gather based on what they had said. So it's always changing. It's always a variety of things, and every case is different, as Jodi talks about. It's a new investigation each time.
So there was a bit of an admission to being involved in the attempted murder?
Yes, in one of them, yes.
Okay.
By one person. So
have any charges been laid?
Yes. So in that case, there were charges. And then in the other attempted murder that happened that same night, within, I think it was a half-hour period. And like I said, they were not linked.
Okay.
As far as we can tell at this point. There were charges laid in that one as well, a few days later.
Okay.
So, and all 3 people who were involved in both matters have been in the remand since. So they've been in HMP since the event.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think just following that day as well, there was an incident also in West Bay on the public beach. So the incidents that Russ referred to were on Friday evening. And I think this one was on a Saturday, where it was another violent incident, another serious wounding. And that person was actually arrested on the night of the incident and processed and charged as well.
What kind of a wounding are we talking about? Like
stabbing.
A stabbing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. A little heated right now in West Bay in that weekend.
I don't think that it's just specific to West Bay, because if we look at, for instance, the robbery incidents that have been occurring, so far about 14 incidents, save for 3, most of those have been in Georgetown.
Right, so. But you had 2 attempted murders and then a stabbing in West Bay.
Yes.
All within pretty much a 24-hour period almost.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a lot right now. So okay, and it's interesting that you say that you, at this moment, you don't think they're linked.
Yes.
In my CSI mind right now, watching a little too much TV, Law and Order, I would assume that there has to be some sort of a link, but we're not allowed to.
Yes, we're
not allowed to assume.
Right. We're always taught as police, assume nothing, believe nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those sayings that obviously force us to continue to investigate, to dig, because you can't assume that evidence means this until you can actually prove something, or through corroborative evidence prove it, or through direct evidence. So in this case, it's possible that there's a linkage, but there isn't one that we see at this point or have found at this point. So that's why we say they don't appear to be linked at this point.
And if there was a link,
yes.
Would you even be able to be in the position to share that with our listeners and with us?
It would depend. You know, it's always depending, because it depends on if it would affect the integrity of the investigation. It's always a case-by-case basis, and so it's a long way of saying probably not, but potentially. You know, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Now let's turn to anything else that you wanted to speak about when it comes to those West Bay attempted murders?
Well, even just moving on from those, some of the good recent successes that we had was just even not this past weekend, but the weekend before, where we were able to arrest a prolific offender. And when we did the arrest and search of his residence, we actually located a firearm in the person's possession. So later on that night, I think it was maybe 7 hours later, we had another arrest related to a firearm, in which we were able to recover an extended magazine with at least, I think, 26 live rounds in it from a vehicle, as well as the firearm underneath the seat that had another magazine in it. I think it was 9 to 10 live rounds in that as well.
And was that the stop that had it was like a window tint incident? Was that stop? And he was stopped for too much, like illegal tint, basically. There was a stop that happened with maybe not. No. But there was a stop that happened with that, with a tint. And I believe the person had a firearm in the car and some amount of ganja. And they were also arrested for that, and like an intent to supply.
Right.
So I don't know if it's the same one, but
well, it's not, it was a vehicle search, but it wasn't a stop search.
Okay.
Right.
And it wasn't due to a traffic offense. Essentially, we would have been aware somehow that something was taking place at that location, and we turned up, and that was a result of it.
Okay, so you searched the vehicle and found
the firearm.
The firearm in the vehicle. And wait, this is separate from the firearm that was found in the person's house?
Yes.
Right,
yes.
okay.
Completely
so
separate.
2 firearms were found on that weekend.
Have you been able to run any, I guess it's ballistics, to see if perhaps...
We have.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say if anything has been linked to possibly other crimes? I like how y'all look at each other on the side like...
No, we're not able to say that at this time, because then that would compromise any other investigation that we have in place.
Well, I certainly hope that there is something found in that sense. Jody's getting a message right now from maybe it's my phone.
Yeah.
No, I think it's you.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Please don't call me if you're listening. You can call our WhatsApp or call our regular phone line. So we're about to go to our first commercial break, so I'm just going to remind people that they can WhatsApp us at 925-3261. You can WhatsApp call or message. And then the other numbers to call, 949-8990 and 949-6037. Sometimes I forget the numbers and give them wrong ones, but hopefully I got that right. Yeah, Susan said yes, you did. All right, we're going to go to our first commercial break, and we will continue this discussion.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center. Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. Brought to you by UHealth International, University of Miami Health System. International patients go to UHealth International for consultations with renowned physicians, advanced treatment technologies, leading-edge medical therapies, and state-of-the-art surgical procedures. Whatever your particular reason for going to UHealth International, you will receive customized medical care delivered within a compassionate, multicultural setting. The care you need when you need it.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, we have Sergeant Jodi-Ann Powery and Detective Sergeant Russel of the Criminal Investigations Department. It's great to have you guys here this morning, and thank you, Russ, because I know you're giving us so much information really about on what some of those recent arrests were, especially with the attempted murders in West Bay and the stabbing that happened in West Bay, and then the firearms that were recently discovered, the arrests made there, and I think you have some other good positive news that you want to share with what's happened from the police work recently.
Yeah, absolutely. On top of that, we've obviously had I would say a little bit of a string of robberies that have been occurring. I think this is the foreign.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. So it's obviously worrying for a lot of people because we all know that we've seen some of the social media floating around, and this is public knowledge that there have been machetes that have been used. We have made arrests and charged people in relation to this, and we're making really good inroads with our investigation in relation to this. So this is a matter of sometimes it takes time to put it together because these investigations are complicated. And even though people might not see the fruits of the labor right away, lots is going on in the background. That like these investigations, like I said, are complicated, and there's a lot of moving parts. So people might think that things aren't happening, but they are. We're developing suspects, we're gathering evidence, we're making arrests, charging people, and we're already seeing that it's having an impact. Even though people might say we've had 3 robberies since then, those robberies we believe aren't linked to that series that were happening almost once every week.
With the machete robberies?
Yes, even though we had some recent machete robberies, it's kind of a weapon of choice, I guess, beyond the firearm, because it's obviously an intimidating weapon to have for people.
So you don't think that any of those are linked?
No, sorry, I didn't articulate that very well.
Okay.
We believe that there are ones that are linked.
Okay.
So there's at least 2 different groups or singular people that are working, but not necessarily together, that we can say at this point. But we're confident that we've taken off the streets a very prolific person who is, we believe is...
Is this the one that we spoke about on the commercial break? We don't have to mention those details.
No, I don't think this is just different, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a prolific arrest for me because that was in my neighborhood. So also a machete wielding a robber. So
that's another prolific person that we have just recently arrested. So,
right.
And charged.
Right.
So they will also be staying in for quite a while because they have some other outstanding matters. Like I told you before, there was a 2017 matter that is still before the courts with them that they've pled guilty to, and they're awaiting sentencing. So it's good that we're getting some of these things in place now, like getting these people off the street with the evidence that we need and the convictions to keep them in.
Right, and not be released. So this person is going to stay in jail until their trial date happens.
That is the hope, and this is one of the misnomers that we deal with too. And it's not to throw anyone under the bus. It's just sometimes, for whatever reason, people are able to get released. It's not something that we are wanting to happen, and we fight that tooth and nail to keep people in who are prolific offenders. But sometimes things happen and they get released on an electronic monitor or by whatever means, and we just have no say in it.
Right.
Yeah.
But an electronic monitor tracks where you are as well, right?
It does, yeah.
So if a crime was happening and a person has an electronic monitor on them and you know, okay, it happened at this time, that monitor would place that person at that scene of crime? Yes.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's a bit worrisome for me. So when we did speak and you said this was in a break to all our listeners, and you did say that somebody was awaiting trial, but they kept evading their trial dates.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've recently been involved in, I know of some kind of machete attacks and robberies, and they've now been arrested, and they will stay in jail until their trial dates. I think knowing that people can be released, that's super frightening. We know that this is a dangerous person. We know that they're out there to hurt people. And so for me, whoever's making these decisions, it's terrifying for the community. This isn't a small little fraudulent thing that's happening. It's serious crime that's happening, and people's lives are at risk, right? So I think for me, it's a big relief to know that this individual that we were speaking of, I mean, just now, but also I know who it is, during the break. It's a relief for me as a citizen that I don't have to necessarily check every corner when I'm leaving my house, because now I walk out of my door and I'm looking all around, like it's almost like a 360 when I walk outside to make sure, okay, is this person there? Because they were quite frequent in my neighborhood, for example. So to know that they're not going to be around is a huge relief.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people could say that. So.
Yeah.
I know that there was some recent court cases that had happened that also had led to, that were really based on a lot of success and hard work from the police, from evidence that was provided.
Yeah.
Would you like to share about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had some good recent convictions in regards to some of the murder investigations that we've had. So we've had 3 since the beginning of September. One of them, the one in September, was a 2021 murder investigation. It was a double homicide that happened on Martin Drive. It took a long time to put the investigation together and to get the right people charged in the first instance. And then obviously sometimes the court process is slow, and not by any fault of anyone's. It's just an amalgamation of different problems that occur. But we had some really good evidence in that one. The suspect, who was eventually convicted, was actually shot at the scene himself, and upon fleeing, transferred his blood into 2 different vehicles, which we were able to definitively say that is this person's blood. And through other corroborative evidence, we placed that person as being one of the suspects, and they were convicted of a double homicide.
And that was from 2021?
2021.
Okay, excellent.
So these things sometimes take time, like I said. We've had it where we've had a murder happen in May, and then we had the trial overdone and dusted with in November. So it's never a set thing, you know?
Right.
But it's one of those things that happens just based on a number of different factors. And then we had another one that happened in 2023, December 7th, which was the murder of Sven Connor. We had 2 people charged in relation to that one, and we were able to gather enough evidence, corroborative evidence, and we secured a conviction on that one as well. And it was some great work by the DPP prosecution team to be able to put it together, because sometimes we look at the evidence and it's a person just like looking at the evidence might think this isn't a lot to go by, but the presentation of it really paints the picture to show. And that one was it was a variety of different things, but mostly it was eyewitness account that really helped us secure the conviction. A couple of eyewitnesses at the scene.
Oh, okay.
So not witnessing the actual event, but corroborative evidence came into play with that.
Other aspects of what they may have seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So last month when I was here, I would have mentioned that people evidence is still one of the best evidence that we have as a police service. So we are very, very grateful for anybody who's ever, provided a statement and gave evidence in relation to any crime, but especially serious crime, because that really goes a long way in making sure that we secure justice.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and I was going to make that point because we did talk about that previously. Yeah. I know that. Mm-hmm. And for you, Russ, you were saying that, okay, it also took the people that helped that case. Mm-hmm. And I know so many of us are scared to be witnesses
Yes.
There has been incidents in the past where witnesses, there was some retaliation on them. Sometimes people don't feel protected.
Mm-hmm.
So there's, those things to think about as a common citizen of the country. Okay, do I provide a witness statement and all the rest? And it could be a 50-50 chance. Maybe that person will get convicted, maybe they won't.
Mm-hmm.
But it is still one of the strongest forms of evidence possible, and you might actually just be that little missing piece that is needed to seal the deal and convict that person.
Absolutely.
And I would say to that, like, it's quite often people just say, I don't want to get involved, and don't even bother coming forward. But it's always a step-by-step process. So we encourage people to come forward, and we will then take the next step. We'll talk to them, they can give us the information. But what people need to understand is that if they give us that information, that helps us to move our investigation along. It might not necessarily be a statement they give us because of, like you said, fear or whatever reason why they can't give it. But primarily it's fear. It's the fear of reprisal. It's the fear that the reprisal might be against their family or friends. But if they come forward, they give us that information, we can take it as it comes and potentially develop and move to the next step from there. But if we don't get the information, we can't progress our investigation, because that information may lead to us developing other aspects of the investigation to get that evidence that might be independent evidence. So we don't necessarily need a statement from them.
Mm-hmm.
But we always want statements from people, because, like you said, that's the best evidence a lot of times, in conjunction with CCTV, cell phones, stuff like that. It's just an amalgamation, a holistic view of an investigation. It's just not one thing.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
And policing and the criminal justice as a whole has developed over the years as well. And there are certain measures that can be put in place if you are genuinely in fear, and there is means in which we can prove that your fear is justified. For instance, there are measures that can be put in place. Not something that we can discuss openly, but it's something that is available.
In protecting witnesses?
Yes.
Why can't we discuss it openly? Because I guess it would give away your secrets of what you do.
Well, yes, and the right people aren't here.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, yes. Understand. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I understand that. We're going to go to our next commercial break, and when we come back, I want to touch back on the machete attacks that are happening, or robberies. And don't correct. I mean, you can correct me if I'm robbery and burglary. I'm always going to mix that up, no matter how many times you tell me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to our next commercial break, and we're going to touch on that again when we return.
Hey, Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked. You can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents, browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students, just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market. Cayman Brand Source Home Gallery is having an appliance inventory reduction sale with up to 50% off selected appliances and 25% off all kitchen packages until March 31st. Enjoy discounts on luxury brands like Foster, Milano, and more. Refrigerators, wine coolers, and barbecue grills are all discounted. All appliances are included in the sale. Don't miss out. Shop now at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, and save big before prices rise in April. Call 623-5000 for more details or visit us today and take advantage of these incredible deals. Act fast before the best items are gone. Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Call 623-5000.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
All right, welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service, we have Sergeant Jodi-Ann Powery and Detective Sergeant Russel Ceeles of the Criminal Investigations Department. We were speaking about a lot of recent arrests made from some attempted murders, assaults, firearms discoveries, the machete attacks, which is what we were just kind of speaking about right before the break. And I wanted to touch on the machete attacks again because, as mentioned, Russ, you said that there's been, I think you said a few, few machete robberies lately, and it seems to be like a weapon of choice. But it's trending. It's definitely a trending thing right now. So I don't know if it's almost like a copycat thing where some people are saying, hey, they're doing this and somewhat getting away with it. We can try this too.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would say that necessarily wouldn't be the case. It's machetes, since I've been here, have been one of the weapons of choice when it comes to robberies. When it comes to doing personal robberies, for sure. Even some of these business robberies, and Jodi can back me up on this one, knowing that is kind of the weapon of choice. Even just recently, back in December, we had a little bit of a string of machete robberies as well, where we developed a suspect or two, but it's really kind of hit a little bit of we kind of ran out a little bit of steam in those investigations, but we obviously want to pick those back up. But it's a matter of hitting these current ones first, like to be able to get the evidence while it's fresh. It's within that first 24, 48 hours that we want to hit them. So I wouldn't say that they're necessarily copycat things, but there could be an element that they're hearing that people are getting away with it. But it's a lot of times it's a matter of desperation for some of these people. For a variety of reasons, socioeconomical status puts them into that category. As we were talking over the break, drug use, that's a huge determining factor of why these people are doing these, committing these robberies and burglaries. It's out of desperation. They just, they have no money. Sometimes a lot of them are homeless, and so they're just looking for their next fix. And that's an easy way to get it. It's to go into a house that's unoccupied, or to hold somebody up with a machete and steal their money or whatever.
When it comes to the drug use, because I know that there is a number of homes in different districts that are kind of known homes for where people can acquire their drugs and hang out. There's quite a lot of drug activity going around these places, like little hot spots.
Yes.
And maybe this is way too broad of a question, but why aren't those places getting shut down? What's preventing action from the police in those homes?
Well, you'll find that we'll have frequent police activities in these hotspot areas. For instance, this past weekend, a vehicle was recovered from one such hotspot area with quite a fair quantity of drugs packaged for sale. The vehicle was recovered. The person who the vehicle belongs to has been identified but hasn't been arrested as yet. And that being said, let me just say that if anyone,
is harboring a criminal,
please ensure that you don't do so. That is a crime.
Yep.
Yeah. So you'll find that we do quite a number of activities in these various areas. However, we can't live there. And we'll depend on the community a lot as well to partner with us to make sure that those places, once we've exited, don't reoccur in the way that it does. And that's and it's unfortunately is kind of a cycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm curious because there's some wanted people out there, and I've seen a couple of I guess kind of wanted posters But when it comes to who you know are suspects, especially in like these machete robberies that are happening, is the police considering putting out kind of wanted pictures of these suspects, or is that more of a deterrent for you? Because I feel like some of these guys are just sleeping through your fingers.
So we do that only in the most extreme circumstances.
Why?
And the reason why we do that is because investigatively it could compromise cases. So, for instance, if there is a case where the person's identity is in question and we would require a member of the public to identify the person who committed a crime, once we've put their identity out there, their faces out there, they no longer have an unbiased opinion. They're tainted by the release of that wanted person.
Okay.
So it's
a bit
only
of give and
in
take.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's only in the most extreme circumstances that we would put out a wanted poster.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to touch on that?
Yeah, and to jump on that, it's because we've had this with one of our murders recently, back in, it was October, I think, 27th,
Right.
where we released the wanted poster for the individual. And at that point, it's a balance, like Jodi said, because it's between is what's in the public interest at this point, balancing with, are we able to get that person in, arrest them, and identification processes and all that stuff. There's so many different things that come into play, and it just becomes a policy decision at that point. Like, what is the best thing to do for the investigation and for the public safety? So we kind of, it's a balance of, I guess, a balance of like what is good for the investigation, as opposed to, do we need to get this person in? Are they going to continue to commit this offense? But sometimes we have that person identified, and we're like Jodi said, it's part of our investigative process that we're trying to get that other corroborative evidence, and we don't want to put that out there to let people know that we know who this person is necessarily. So there's a lot of things. It's like I said, it's complicated. It's not as straightforward as people might think.
Right.
It's very
Unfortunately,
complicated.
sometimes it gets taken out of our hands. For instance, I find that sometimes even when members of the public make reports to the police, they also make reports to social media.
Well, I definitely did that. Look at this
Right.
crackhead on my porch. I've done it.
Right. So in that instance, if we had required a member of the public to identify that person, the video on social media would have compromised it. Compromised that possibility of an identification.
Okay.
Thankfully, that wasn't the case in this case.
Okay. Yeah. I'm still gonna share. Sorry, guys, but I'm still gonna share.
Well,
if stuff is happening in front of my door, to my car, whatever, I am like, you're dumb enough to do it in front of my camera.
Well, I would ask that you share it to us.
Yes. Well.
Yes.
First and primarily, yeah.
Yes.
So then we can go from there, and then we can
listen. We
notify
had,
the public.
and Jodi knows this. We had 2 months of every night cars getting broken into, and certain individuals that were known, and nothing was. I know you hate to hear it, but nothing was really being done, and it took over 2.5 months before somebody got arrested, and it was every single night between a certain window of time. So for us, it's a little hard. Just as a regular citizen, it can be hard just to rely on the police on that aspect.
For sure.
But moving from that, I want to just touch on because we just passed. I hate to say an anniversary because it's not an anniversary. It's not a celebratory thing.
Yeah.
But it's just over a year. I think it was February 25th since the Ed Bush Stadium mass shooting that we had.
Sure.
Yes.
And that's still under investigation.
It is.
Is there anything that you can talk to us about, Russ, or I guess plead with the public?
It always comes down to the same thing each time with cases where we're not able to make an arrest. But we made arrests in this case, either make an arrest or even, obviously in this case, be able to charge people, is we kind of exhaust our investigative leads. And what that means is that we've gone down every line of inquiry that we possibly can, and what we need for the public to do. And we know that there's people out there that have either potentially direct evidence or have even confessional evidence, which means that somebody has admitted something to them, to come forward in a case like this especially. And as Jodi said, when it comes to people's safety and when it comes to protecting witnesses, That is like our primary concern. So we always want to protect the public, especially when it comes to witnesses and victims who come forward and who give us the statement. But it's one of those things. I think people are always scared, like you said, they're apprehensive about doing that because of things that may have happened in the past. But that is our first and foremost thing, is people's safety. So I would even say this I still say this to people. If they give us something and it doesn't work out in the proper way that we can protect them, or we're able to protect them because for a variety of reasons or whatever, we won't use that information. So we always want to protect them first, because it's not worth solving one murder only to have another murder occur because of that. But that being said, we are quite good at looking at people's safety and making sure that we're keeping people safe. It also comes down to a cooperation thing with the witnesses and the victims as well.
Right.
Cooperating with us to ensure that they're adhering to what they need to do. Just like in every crime, like crime prevention and stuff.
And just a little bit of public reassurance as well.
Mm-hmm.
The arrests that were made, even though we were not able to lay charges for this particular incident, the months leading from that incident, the police activities, the high and robust approach that we took to policing has led to other offenses being identified. And I think several of the persons that were arrested in relation to this incident are currently incarcerated based on other charges and offenses.
You read my mind, because I was going to say, if were any of those previously arrested but released suspects, did they come back into your kind of line of sight again?
So they have come. They have come full circle, and they have been either remanded in custody, or they have completed the court process and are incarcerated.
Yeah, one of them has pled guilty recently to an attempted murder. So
wow, okay.
Yeah. And I think it was dumbed down to, I shouldn't say dumbed down to, but it was, they pled guilty to wounding, I think, with intent, which is, they'll get some time for that.
Yeah,
a little bit of a lesser offense.
Charge. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we only have a few minutes, so you did mention crime prevention. And so for those, business owners out there, individuals, we know that there's some machete attacks on the rise right now with robberies. So what can, what's your advice to protect ourselves?
So, Russel here, he is the social media guru and mentor in the criminal investigations department, and I know that he'll agree when he says, CCTV evidence is very, very good evidence. So if you are a business operator and you are able to install CCTV in your businesses, then please go ahead and do so. And if you already do, make sure that your CCTV is serviced regularly, that, for instance, the dates and times are correct. Mm-hmm. Make sure that they're cleaned often, so that the quality of the footage is pristine, because that will be the evidence that we will need in order to, carry out that investigation in a successful way. But additionally, like for persons, individuals, a lot of what we've seen in recent times is that alcohol has also played a factor in a number of incidents. So, if you are going out and you're having a good time, nobody can stop you, but make sure that you're doing that in a responsible way, that you're not going out and getting stupidly drunk and you can't manage yourself. And look out for each other, so go out in groups, for instance, because it's a lot more difficult to target you if you're with others.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. We got to wrap up this segment right here. We got to go to the 9 a.m. headline news, and I thank you very much for joining me and giving us some updates and sharing some good news as well on the work that's going on with the RCIPS. I'm happy to hear about some very recent arrests. Pass me on that.
If you guys do have information that you'd like to provide with this incident or any other major incidents that occurred, 649-2930. That's the major incident room's direct line.
Okay, the number again, 649-2930. 2930. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to the 9 a.m. headline news, and then after the news, I will be talking with the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
I'm April Cummings with your latest headlines. As Caymanians prepare for the April 30th referendum on cruise port development, CPR Cayman says Caribbean economist Marla Ducent will be the headline speaker at their upcoming rally on the 18th. The economist will be examining the economic realities of cruise tourism in small island economies, providing insights on cruise visitor spending patterns, tourism trends, and the long-term implications of the cruise sector for the economy. In international headlines, U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened a 200% tariff on alcohol from EU countries, unless a, quote, nasty 50% tariff on whiskey is stopped. It is the latest escalation of a global trade war, which this week has ramped up with 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum entering the U.S. The EU responded by saying it would raise its levies on $28 billion worth of U.S. goods, including boats, bourbon, and motorbikes, starting April 1st. An aide to Vladimir Putin dismisses a short-term ceasefire with Kiev, saying it is nothing but a temporary respite for Ukraine. This comes as Donald Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff is in Moscow ahead of U.S.-Russia talks on a 30-day ceasefire proposal. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or belly fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller. And in this segment, it's our final segment. I will be speaking with the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development. And I know they had a recent BRAC trip, so we're going to get into the details of that. And I'd like to welcome in studio, we have Director Tyree Ducent. Congratulations, because I know you've recently become director as well.
Thank you for having us.
I can't remember if I've had you in studio directly to say congrats. We have Antoleen Williams, Deputy Director, which I've previously had with me in the studio, so it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Trevor Gibbs, Deputy Chief Officer, and Shanique, Ceeles Policy Advisor. So good morning, everybody. How are we doing today?
Morning.
I'm good. Thank you. So we're here to really talk about that BRAC trip, right? So we're going to get a bit of a recap. Let us know the purpose of the visit, what your objectives were, and the outcome. Whoever wants to jump in.
Kathy, if I could just kind of start a little bit from the ministry's perspective.
Okay.
And then we can go from there. But just wanted to say thank you very much for having us this morning, obviously. We are very excited to be here and to talk with you and your audience about not just about the trip that we just took, which was a very important one, but also to take the opportunity to raise awareness a little bit about what the center does generally. Mm-hmm. You pointed out very astutely that Thais has recently been put in as director. Yeah. She has been doing a fantastic job. She had big shoes to fill after the outgoing director left. and her feet have filled the shoes for sure.
Excellent.
Um,
Congrats.
The center is one of the most dynamic and flexible departments within government that I have had the pleasure of working with. They were established in 2019, and within 6 months, they pivoted into delivering stipends for businesses in COVID. And they did that seamlessly, flawlessly, all while still providing business advisory services. And I think that the fact that they were able to do both, and the stipend programs weren't small programs. They actually carried on for close to 2 years. They didn't miss a beat, continuing their advisory services to businesses, which is their core business, but also to deliver the directives of the government of the day, which the circumstances of COVID and keeping particularly tourism businesses afloat was absolutely critical. And they did that with a very small team.
And also during a pandemic that none of us have experienced.
Absolutely.
We had no idea what to do. So
Absolutely.
to be able to pivot and continue to provide the services and be successful at it, I mean, you all should applaud yourselves for that, because I think it's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
Did well.
They were, and they led on this, and they were phenomenal. Those stipends programs rolled out, and again, without missing a beat, they started to roll out their new programming, which includes a business growth incubator, which I had the pleasure of being at the opening of their 4th cohort yesterday. So they're about to do their 4th successful cohort, which is fantastic. And a number of other programs and events that they've rolled out and are now annual programs and events. Now that their feet are firmly in the ground and they're rolling as the center that they want to be, they've started to look at how they can provide enhanced services to all 3 islands. And last week was the first step in the direction of us looking at the particular and specific needs of businesses in our sister islands. And we will definitely be building on that. And Thais and team will certainly speak to that a little bit more. So I will sit back and stop talking now.
I mean, you painted a great picture right there.
Yeah,
that was
over
excellent.
to Thais and team.
All right.
Yes. So our advisory services has actually always been available to the sister islands. I don't think they knew about that. Perhaps many of them were not aware. So we wanted to take this opportunity to go over there, engage with them, make them aware of the services that we offer. So we are there to help all 3 islands. So our services, we can provide them virtually, and we wanted to make sure that they knew about that. They knew how we can help them. So we had an excellent opportunity to engage with micro and small businesses there. So we met with several of them. We had a pop-up shop on Friday. We were able to, have one-on-one advisory services with them. They were able to share not just their needs and their challenges, but also their dreams. We got to hear, what it is that they want to accomplish. And it was just an excellent opportunity to get to know them, to get to know their challenges. They have very unique challenges over there. We thought we had some unique challenges over here, but they're like almost on another level. But it was really good to hear about those challenges and, build those relationships with them there. So we're glad that we went out. It was an excellent opportunity to just, share.
So my follow-up question to that is, what are those unique challenges that businesses or, hopeful entrepreneurs are facing in the sister islands?
Do you want to take that up?
Sure. So like Thais said, there are definitely unique challenges, some that we hadn't thought about, some that we had. So obviously having the business development services available. Some persons want in person, some persons want online, but we do have an older community, so it's a very mixed. So we have the elderly and we have the younger. The elderly are not very tech savvy, and they're not willing to necessarily learn how to go on Zoom, so we'd have to meet them face to face, while the younger ones are willing to do the Zoom. Even how we reach and communicate with them, they're very different with that. So they're not on social media. They're very much into the bulletin boards and the WhatsApp groups. So we now have figured out how to communicate with them.
And printed material.
And print, yes.
That's
So
a
it's
big
all
thing,
printed material on the bulletin boards. So our team was out there doing surveys, and they were able to go out into the community and speak with everyone. And that's where we realized, like, even issues with the barge, which are very high level issues and not necessarily business development, but just understanding those unique challenges, understanding that things coming over takes time, so that it affects how they deliver. Even if they want to expand their markets and come to Cayman, then it's having it shipped to Cayman Brac and then shipped back to Grand Cayman. So how do we help them to address those challenges so that they could grow their businesses? So it's stuff like that that we have identified, and a lot more.
Another thing that was very interesting to learn. So just about every entrepreneur that we met had more than one business. So they are running like 4 and 5 businesses.
Wow. I didn't expect to hear that.
Yes. So, the market is very small over there. So they have to get creative in what they do and what they offer. So that was quite interesting. So now we do have a challenge as a center. We normally get our clients to focus on one area. So now trying to determine, what areas they should focus on and how to manage 4 businesses.
Right. Because I can't see them giving up a business in particular just to be able to focus on 1 or 2. They want to keep it all.
Exactly.
So how do we strengthen them in all of their businesses that they have?
Yeah. So those are some of the unique challenges that we also encountered.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. And what about the ideas stemming from the sister islands when it comes to new businesses that people want to create?
Well, there are quite a few opportunities over there. So we heard of some upcoming projects, some development that's going to be happening over there. So there's quite a bit of opportunity there, opportunity for the entrepreneurs there to offer new services. Perhaps
creative.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we've heard of that. So now we're very eager to work with them on what it is that they want to offer.
Okay. Now, you made the point a little earlier saying that because of the people that do live in the sister islands, you have the bit of a younger generation, but also the aging population, right? And we know that the more aging population isn't as tech savvy, as pointed out. So, and some say, hey, we can go online, we can do sessions with you online or advisory services online, and someone need it face to face. So is there a possibility that an office can open there, or the possibility of more frequent, is that on you to allow for the budget there, Trevor? We might need to look at the budget a little bit, or to do these visits more often.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned earlier, this was the first step in a journey that we would like to make sure is as concise as possible. I say that not that concise so that we're not there often, but concise in that we can get to a place where we understand exactly what's needed. We can provide that advice to the cabinet and consider any budgetary components that we may need to put into the future budget to look at whether or not an office is viable and necessary out there, and any other supporting infrastructure or other things that we might be able to facilitate. I know for certain the feedback that I heard the loudest was that people in the sister islands very much take you at your word. So if your word is your bond, if you said that you're going to do something, better do it.
I like that. I mean, I agree.
And absolutely. So when we visited, we said we will be back. We're going to make this a regular thing, and we are holding ourselves accountable to do that. I don't know exactly the date that we'll be back again this year, but we will be back again for sure this year, after the data has been collated and we have a little bit of a better idea about the things that we want to dive deeper into with the business community. And then once we've been able to do that, I think we'll have some takeaways. We may be back again shortly thereafter. Those connections will be built, those relationships will be better established, and communication will flow back and forth. And that will be, just in time for a new administration to have a look at these kinds of things.
All right. We're going to go to our first commercial break, and when we come back, we will A few more questions, and then we'll have to wrap the discussion. But I think you're giving some great information about what the CICBD did on the recent trip to the BRAC.
Attention Cayman! Transform your kitchen for less with Granite Express, Cayman's big clearance sale. Sale has now been extended till March 18th. Get huge discounts on granite and quartz kitchen countertops. Plus, refresh your space with our cabinet respray services for as low as $3,950. If you only want a countertop, prices start at $2,150. Don't miss this limited time offer. Visit Granite Express Cayman today or call 922-0424 for a free estimate. That's 922-0424. Granite Express. Quality stone. Unbeatable prices.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
The 7 a.m. Sports Report, brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
Hi, I'm Deputy Governor Franz Manderson, and I'm excited to announce the DG's 5K Challenge is just around the corner. We kick off things in Little Cayman on March 9th, followed by Cayman Brac on March 16th, and the grand finale on Grand Cayman on March 30th. This year, we're supporting the Cayman Islands Girls Brigade, the Cayman Islands Scouts Association, and the One-to-One Foundation, each helping to shape our next generation. Join us in making a positive impact. For registration details, find us on Facebook at DG's 5K Challenge.
The nation listens. The candidates speak. Subway presents the General Election Debates, live in studio on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and 93.9 in the Sister Islands. Every Monday and select Wednesdays from 7 to 10 p.m. 2 sessions. One powerful discussion. With Election Day fast approaching, hear what the candidates have to say on the cost of living, housing and development, economic growth, sustainability, education, transport, tourism, immigration, and more. Who has the vision? Who has the plan? Hear it all unfold live, unfiltered, and on the voice of the Cayman Islands. Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM and 93.9, streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Visit Radio Cayman's social media pages for debate details. Brought to you in part by Cayman Enterprise City.
Also brought to you by Reflections, UCCI, and Yum.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning and welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller. And here for the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development, we have in studio Thais Ducent, Director. We have Antoleen Williams, Deputy Director. We have Shanique Ceeles, Policy Advisor, and Trevor Gibbs, Deputy Chief Officer. We are talking about, well, Trevor did give us a really good background summary on the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development and the things that they have greatly accomplished over the past few years, and then which led into this recent BRAC trip, which was talking to current entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs. And one thing that I learned definitely in that part of the discussion is that a lot of the entrepreneurs in the BRAC have more than one business, up to 4 businesses, maybe more. So they're hustling out there in the BRAC, doing what they can to really make ends meet. Right? It's different. It's challenging, and the Sister Islands presented a different set of challenges compared to Grand Cayman. But there's opportunity, and it's just kind of thinking outside the box and what you can do, what you can meet for the needs of that community in the BRAC. So there's definitely business opportunity that is out there. When we touched on some development projects that are happening or that will be coming up. So if you can touch on at all what these development projects may be, please do. If you cannot, I get it. But how can the small businesses take advantage of these development projects that are coming up?
Well, with any development project, really, there is going to be a greater demand for services like accommodation, restaurants, dining, retail, and that sort of thing. So small businesses can position themselves by offering new products, new services to meet those particular needs. And what we can do is we can help them to understand, how best to tap into these opportunities. We create, we've done workshops. We can do the one-on-one advisory services with them to help them, to get them in a better place where they're able to provide those products and services for this new opportunity.
And when you did speak to the younger generation there that are involved in business or want to get involved, have aspirations, were they hopeful for the BRAC, or did you get a sense of, things might be easier if they relocated to Grand Cayman? I mean, you often see that, right? You often see some of the younger people come over to Grand Cayman and see what opportunities they have here.
I think that they were quite eager to speak to us. They obviously want to hear more about how we can support them. We had people coming out, and I remember there was this one lady in particular at the agriculture show. Now, the agriculture show over in the BRAC is amazing. They have everything there. Everyone comes out. She came to us and she was like, I'm not here for the food. I'm not here for any of the other vendors. I'm here specifically to see you. So they are eager to learn more. They want to know that they're being supported and, how can we help and so on. So they're quite excited that we're there. I didn't get that they are eager to move over to Grand Cayman so much. No, they are eager to get things up and running over in the BRAC and to make that work. So us being there to offer that kind of support, that's what they really wanted to see. So it was quite hopeful.
I don't want to leave Little Cayman out, and I know this was a trip to the BRAC, but did you find that anybody from Little Cayman came over while you were in the BRAC? Or do you know of any kind of challenges that entrepreneurs are facing in the BRAC that might be similar, in Little Cayman, that might be similar to what the BRAC is facing?
We didn't actually get anyone come over from Little Cayman. It could have just been a timing issue. But and this is an assumption, that they would have similar challenges to the BRAC. I know they would have unique challenges to Little Cayman. So it's a matter of how do we now reach out to Little Cayman? So that's something that we're considering. How do we ensure that we're covering all 3 islands successfully? So it's in the pipeline for us to do.
Okay.
But this trip was definitely just for the BRAC.
So how currently then, and how you are reaching out and getting the feedback from the entrepreneurs and the hopeful entrepreneurs, what are you doing in that sense to get an idea of what they do need, how else you can help them, the different channels or media that they're tuned into and listening to for advice and guidance and where to go?
So in addition to the pop-up shop and our appearance at the agriculture show, we actually had staff members on the ground visiting the business owners there. So they went to their establishments to gather feedback there because, oftentimes they're busy, they're not able to come to us. We had this pop-up shop, but there weren't a lot of people that were actually able to attend. So we sent our staff members out. They visited businesses. They conducted feedback surveys, because this is our way of trying to now learn more about their challenges. What exactly are their needs so that we can tailor their services to better serve them.
Okay.
And to add to that as well, if I may, I think something that was extremely beneficial as well during that trip was when the team did go out to these establishments, we were able to leave behind some marketing materials and put those brochures up in the establishment. So when customers do come in, they can take a look at the bulletin boards within the restaurants or retail stores to get an idea of what services the center does offer and hopefully create that relationship so they would reach out to us.
Okay, I like it. Is there a next step planned? You met with some of the businesses, you have an idea, there was some feedback involved, but is there a next step plan in how you're going to be offering your services or bringing them to a next level?
I think that would be determined based on the feedback. So we're still analyzing the data. We have several surveys to go through. And once we analyze that data, once we're able to determine the exact needs, then we're able to tailor the programs, and then we know how to better support them. So when we go back, we have a better idea exactly what we're going to do. But yeah, that would be based on the responses that we've gotten from the surveys.
Okay, and from your experience there, what was the biggest industry or a growing industry or just kind of new industries that you do see developing in the BRAC?
Well, one of the ones that we spoke to, because we also had meetings with the district commissioner's office. We spoke to the deputy district commissioner, and as well as a representative from the Department of Commerce and Investment over there. And one of the things that we learned, there are opportunities for backyard farming. So we, from what I understand, they're fixing a water situation over there, but that's going to allow for additional backyard farmers. So that's a really good opportunity and something that we can also assist with. That was one. And then we spoke about the other opportunities for the restaurants and the retails and those other, perhaps accommodation and so on as well.
Okay. I like the backyard farming because we do know that agriculture is it's strong in the BRAC. You can't have everything the same that you have in Grand Cayman, but it is still strong, and people really rely on agriculture really in the BRAC, especially when we look at the shipping costs of everything and the cost of
and food security, right?
Yeah,
ensuring
absolutely.
that as we grow as a nation, we have food security. So ensuring that there's that backyard farming and it's a viable option for them to have fresh fruits and vegetables on a more consistent basis. I think it's a great opportunity for small businesses over there.
What about on the tourism aspect of things? Are you finding that people are interested in developing more of a tourism-based business for the BRAC? Because, a lot of people go for relaxation in the BRAC, especially if you're coming from Grand Cayman, right? Like, let's relax for the weekend in the BRAC. That's one of the very peaceful things that the BRAC has to offer. And then you have coming from other parts of the world, U.S. or Canada, you have a lot of people going strictly for diving, right? We know we have our dive resorts there.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, is there any plans that you know of or any hopeful entrepreneurs that want to look more into the tourism aspect?
I think it creates an opportunity. I don't believe, from my opinion, we had too much from the tourism standpoint. However, I think that definitely creates an opportunity for aspiring entrepreneurs to use that as an opportunity to get creative, think outside the box, and work with the center to really develop their business. So please, listeners in the BRAC, please reach out.
Yeah, so we wanted to reach not just established entrepreneurs to let them know of how we can assist them, but also aspiring entrepreneurs as well. So with all of these opportunities, we would love to talk to aspiring entrepreneurs on their ideas as well and try to develop those.
You do have your business incubator program, which I think you just launched. Trevor, you said launched just
fourth cohort just launched.
Are the BRACers able to join this incubator program, or do you have to be in person for it?
So that's a really good question. Actually, last year during the program, we had someone join from the UK.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, so we were able to accommodate that. There were some challenges. However, we can accommodate it if necessary. But, this is also an opportunity to provide other programs that we are specifically for the BRAC.
Oh, so what would those other specific BRAC
programs?
Oh,
we don't know yet. That would actually depend
so this is part of the whole.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so we are looking to develop certain programs that is geared for BRAC entrepreneurs.
Specifically, yes.
Oh, I like that.
And to add to that as well, I believe when the team went out, there were a few businesses that requested for the survey to be emailed to them. So if you're listening, businesses, please complete that survey so we can gather as much information as we can to better support you.
Okay, so how should the businesses stay in, or hopeful entrepreneurs stay in contact with the Cayman Islands Center for Business Development? Sure. Social media accounts, that kind of thing. How should we know what's going on?
We do have social media accounts. They can reach out to us through the social media accounts, but they can send us an email, CICBD@gov.ky, or they can give us a call. We're on 244-8009, and we'd love to talk to you. If there's anyone over there that we didn't get an opportunity to talk to, we did go through, we checked social media, and we got, try to look everywhere we can for their contact information. Some we were not able to find. So if that happens to be one of the listeners, please do reach out to us on our email or our phone, and we'd be happy to also reach out to you and speak to you about your concerns and your needs.
All right. So next step is to gather all the information, the feedback from the surveys, kind of analyzing the data that you did collect, and then seeing, okay, what kind of programs or initiatives can we start in the BRAC and just get them better connected and, hopefully on a more hopeful journey towards entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Wonderful. Is there any lasting words that you want to leave with our listeners?
No, just want to encourage them to continue to contact the center. We did have I don't know if you know, but we do now have a client from the BRAC. So from our trip, we have our first client from the BRAC. So we want to thank you for that. And go online at CICBD@gov.ky, or like Thais said, reach out to us by phone 244-8009. We're here to support you in all your future endeavors, and we look forward to working with you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning. Appreciate having you on the Buzz, and the show is ending, so I'm going to be back with all our listeners on Tuesday, and you're going to have more of the Candidates Corner. Don't forget, 7:30 to 8 a.m. on the Buzz, and some other discussions we'll have for you ready on Tuesday. Thanks for joining me this morning, and everybody have a great Thursday morning and afternoon and evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for having us.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit Yum